All right. Welcome to the Coder Kids podcast. Today on the program, we have an international guest. So that might interest some of you. His name is Arick Vigas. He is a hobby game developer and front-end developer at Global Logic in, I should say on Ukraine, right? That's how I guess Russians say it, but in Ukraine, it's just in Ukraine. What's the proper
Yes,
preposition?
in Ukraine. Yeah.
In Ukraine. I think Russians say on Ukraine because Ukraine is actually a word in Russian for border. But Ukraine
Yes.
is like, we're not a border, we're a country. So anyway,
Yes.
that's some history that you don't need to know, but it is fun. So definitely welcome to the program. It's great to see you here. Um,
Yes. Thank you so much.
yeah, no, and we really like to get a view of what is it to actually be a coder as your job, right? As a software engineer. You particularly are a front end developer and a hobby game developer. I want to ask you what brought you to technology in the first place? What were some of your first early experiences with technology and why did that interest you?
So at the first time, it began at the childhood, I believe. Yeah, like I was living in the suburbs of my city,
Mm-hmm.
and I had not so many friends. I had an older brother, uh, and our parents bought a computer uh, uh, with Intel Pentium 4. Yeah,
Okay.
those old days. And I was sniffing around all the Windows packages, and trying to mess around, do some things, and that was my introduction to technology and computer. Yeah. Just the ultimate toy at
Yeah.
that time.
Well, that is awesome. What year was that, do you think?
It was 2004 or 2005.
Okay. Yeah. So that was a good bit ago. Man, it's making me feel really old, right? I'm gonna turn 31 here on Sunday. So, wow, that is incredible. So, what was it about the computer that was interesting to you? What was it that sparked your imagination?
So first of all, I believe it's games. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like when my brother came with CD discs with Morrowind and Counter-Strike, and so on,
Oh
I
yeah,
was amazed. Yeah,
yeah.
I was really amazed. Yeah.
So I'm gonna jump in really quick because I lived in Russia. For those of you who don't know, and obviously Arik is from Ukraine, so it's not the same, but it's a little bit similar. And did they have internet cafes and stuff that people would go to and play like Counter Strike and stuff?
Yes.
Because I
It is
remember,
like really
yeah,
underground stuff.
yeah. So I was a missionary over in Russia, and we'd go to these internet cafes to write emails home to our families, so they, would know we're safe and whatever. And there were always like a group of like really young kids, like 10, 11, 12, right? And they would be playing Counter Strike and swearing and like
Yes.
yelling at the screen. And it was such
Yeah.
a hilarious thing. I think I was pretty offended like at the time because like there were young kids and like I didn't even know how to swear in Russian, but like I knew kind of what the words were, and they were just going at it. They were so hardcore. So in that part of the world, not all of our, not all video games made it there, but certainly Counter Strike did. So that is pretty funny.
Yeah, it was dark places with a lot of smoke.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
often, like you said, it's like almost underground in these like apartment complexes. There'd be like a basement floor. It'd be like real musty, very dark. Yeah, typically.
Yeah. Yeah,
Good
so
times.
nostalgic for me.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. This is really funny. Like we're having nostalgia. Like I'm here in Houston, Texas, and you're in Ukraine, and we're talking about like
yes.
underground, um,
Yes.
internet cafes where they speak Russian and play Counter Strike, and yell at the computer. So that is fun. So yeah. So why did that impress you? Was it about the games just that like you'd never thought of anything like that could be possible, or What would you say?
Yeah, so if to take my first huge impression, this is the Elder Scrolls Morrowind here. It was like a huge open world role-playing game where I can be anyone and I can explore and I can read a lot of mythology, yeah, a
Mm,
lot of
yeah,
stories. I was amazed of the possibilities of, like, you have cartoons, you have books where weight is limited, but in games
right,
it's so much more. So
right.
I want to do such stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So yeah, you're talking about Morrowind, which is the precursor to like Skyrim. So a lot of people
Yes.
might be familiar with. Um, yeah, you're right. Yeah, so just like the amount of possibilities. I do think also the amount of color. So I don't know what it was like where you were growing up. So maybe you can inform me of that. But like when I lived in Russia, it was very like I mean, it's snowing all the time, right? So for, almost half the year, it's like the streets are covered in ice and depending on how well the city like cleaned up the ice and some didn't. Like some the ice just would built up over the over the winter and you were like a foot taller just because like they wouldn't clean the ice. Arick, you're smiling.
Yes.
Is that accurate? It was like so for a lot of the year, you have a lot of people in Eastern Europe who are just, basically trapped inside. So there's not really like a lot to do. You can go outside and like deal with the cold out there and, maybe play in the snow a little bit. But like there's really not a lot to do. Is that accurate?
Well, yes and no. Still in
Mm-hmm.
Ukraine, it was a little bit better weather
Mm-hmm.
than in most parts of the Russia. Yeah, but still, I was living in a small city that
Mm-hmm.
is. It's true that it was not so much to do outside.
So how many people lived in that city about, would you say? You say like you said it was a
Uh,
suburb.
yeah, it was 40. Yeah, 40,000. Yeah.
40,000. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So that is a small city to some people, and to some people that's really large. Like I lived in a city of 3,000 people. It was like a farm town slash a jail town in Utah. But 40,000 is decent, but you don't necessarily have access to all the services and everything. But you had internet, I assume, or at the time?
No, no,
No. Okay.
no. I was without internet, and it was my huge journey to get one.
Okay. Yeah, to get connected. So that's interesting. So
Yes.
you got to play these games and, like you said, explore the computer and mess around, but not
Yes.
necessarily like connect to the internet or do instant
Yeah.
messaging or email or anything like that. That is so
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of these kids are, born in a Wi-Fi signal. Like from
Yes.
the moment they're literally born, if they could receive the Wi-Fi signal, they'd be connected to the internet, and then they almost never leave a Wi-Fi signal. I saw that's so crazy to live like pre-internet and then post-internet. So tell me a little bit about the internet and how that changed things for you.
Uh, so I knew, yeah, that there is an internet, but I was living again outside the city, yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
um, it was not proficient to internet companies to provide an internet. Yeah, it was either satellite
Mm-hmm.
internet that was too much expensive, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, or mobile internet that is was also not a choice. So at some time I was, yeah, going to cafes to my friends to download some videos and books and then come back to home and read it.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you'd have to go to these like almost hotspot locations. Yeah. To
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that. So wow, that is really really interesting. So tie that to where you are now. Right now, you're a front end developer with, I think it's like a moderately large company in Ukraine, right? And
Yes.
so
Yes.
doing front end development, and you've worked on a bunch of different projects. So what took you from there to where you are now?
Oh, it's so strange that it took my passion for games and I started to build sites here to earn money, to learn how to make games and make graphics. paradox.
Yeah, yeah. It's like your passion is like the motivation for why you're like creating
Yeah.
websites and doing these things. That's interesting. Um, yeah. So you make websites for friends or was it for companies or what did you do?
So I started to work at my when I was 16. Uh, I just needed money, and I made my CV. I didn't wrote my age, and I sent the
Oh,
CV, and
it's awesome. Resume in like American, but like yeah.
yes, yes,
So you
resume,
so you
and
made this resume. Made this CV and you just said like, "Hey, this is what I do." And you didn't put your age or anything. That's awesome.
yes. So no, no. First of all, I put my age, put my date of birth, and I get no responses. And
Mhm.
later I thought, maybe it's because of my age, and I cleared it up, and then I get some.
That's great. What were some of your first projects like?
Commercial or not?
I mean, either or. Yeah.
So I started by doing a lot of stuff, actually by trying to create my brilliant ideas into games, yeah, and it was like, yeah, not so easy, and a lot of mistakes, and then yeah, I decided that I need some decent education, and I started to find a job,
Mm.
yeah, to earn some money, and at that time uh, I got a job as a junior front-end developer, like yeah, creating web applications for a trading company. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it was
Wow.
completely so different from me, like from games to trading. You know,
Yeah.
it
Is
was
it
a
stock
USD.
trading or is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was tools for stock trading.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's very technical. I imagine a lot of database work and things like that. Um, wow. That is that is pretty incredible. You're like, wow, this is all to fuel my video game addiction, right? So this is great. So I noticed you worked on a project called happy. Well, it's really dedicated to happiness, and I went to the website and watched the video and stuff. So I thought that was interesting. I wanted to ask you about that project specifically because, um, again, gosh, all of this like draws on my experience in Russia. So like, please forgive me for how much I'm referring to this, but you'd see a ton of people walking there on the street, so many people, and very, 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 very few of them would actually like smile at you or would like appear happy. Like it seemed like everyone, especially on Monday morning when they were experiencing hangovers, were like not happy. Like they were very kind of miserable. So I was curious about this project and like the motivation behind it, and then how you I as if I understood about like 80% of the Russian in the video and like the demo video, which was like basically like, hey, we've studied happiness and like these are some tips and tricks to like actually be happy, and it's not very necessarily intuitive the way that we normally think about happiness, if I'm getting it correctly. So you're a front end developer, which means you're working on kind of the front or the visible, part of the website and how it works and stuff. And the design of this website, we might link it later. It's yeah, it is completely in Russian, so I'm not sure, what good it would do to link. But the design of it's very fun. It feels happy. It feels like light. How do you tell me a little bit about that design process and like being a front end developer and being flexible to whatever kind of mood that um, people want to design for.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I was just leading technical stuff. Yeah, design was done by uh,
Mm-hmm,
another freelancers. Yeah, but the whole idea was the client, the girl that was teaching a coach here of the happiness.
mm-hmm.
She decided that she wants to make a kind of game, yeah, kind of a gamification process for her
Ah,
clients.
Okay.
Yeah, so that they will have like calendar, they will have their diary, or they will get notifications
Mm-hmm.
and some suggestions, some videos, some meditations, yeah, all this stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, in this kind of yeah game-like manner with achievements and badges and leaderboards
Oh
and
wow.
such.
Okay. It's like I'm
Yeah.
happier than you. Like, I'm on the leaderboard. That's awesome. No, that is pretty fun though. I think a lot of times people will post courses and then there's no kind of follow up or check in. It's like, I read the book, I'm done, I've got it. But I think, gamification is good if you want people to stay on a platform, but it's also good if you want kind of like lasting change that people are interested in continuing to do. So that is it. That is super interesting. So, um, what did you do in relationship to that? Was that just making sure that the notifications went out, or like what were you like
Like
actually working on?
implementation, like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like design people just draw the application.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they created how it should look
Mm-hmm.
and the all technical stuff to code it actually to so that it uh, will run on your computer. You will be able to make an app from it. Yeah, you will be able to open it and post something and see updated data and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all requires some work, some thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was my job to support all this process of developing.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, yeah, that is super cool. I know that's just one of the many projects that you've worked on, and that was a couple of years ago now. But it was one that was really just like fun to look at and see like how it worked. Although I viewed it briefly. So can you tell me what is a day in the life like of Arick, right? So if you go into work, are you at home? I imagine you might be with the coronavirus. Like, what does a day look like for you?
Oh, I'm so messy and chaotic type of person. So every day, it's hard to say about typical day,
Mm-hmm.
but mostly it depends on mood. Yeah, I was dreaming to work with touch of freedom. That I'm not linked to some one project or maybe some one place, so that I can travel whenever I want and work whenever I want. So yeah, like that's one one kind of my day. Like I wake up, do all preparations, some meditation, some yoga to stay healthy,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, and after, yeah, just current project work, some sync ups with my colleagues. Uh, then it depends on mood. I believe sometimes it's some hobby or maybe some uh, city exploration. Sometimes I go to some cafe and work from there, sometimes from home.
Hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes while I'm traveling.
That is so interesting. I have to do the opposite of you. So this is so crazy. So like for me, if I went out into the city, I would get nothing done for the rest of the day. Because like I love this is so funny. So this is really great. I think this is good for parents to hear and hopefully kids to hear as well. Like if I don't come into here, my office, my home, if I don't come in here and like put my headphones on and like look at a to-do list and like be very organized, I don't end up getting a lot done and I go on a lot of like kind of crazy tangents. And so if I was, where you are and I was going to explore the city, I just want to talk to everybody. I'm like, I want to talk to that stranger and I want to talk to this stranger. Whether it's to, practice Russian or learn Ukrainian or um, yeah, just to like I'm way too excited about way too many things. And so for me it's about kind of like limiting distractions. For you it sounds like you have got a little bit you've got a totally different vibe going on where you're almost like floating from activity to activity, feeling what like works best, doing your yoga stuff, um, and doing your meditation. That is so interesting. And do you find that you have to be in the right state of mind in order to get work done?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Because yeah, if something with weather and I don't feel myself quite well, then it is really hard for me to yeah to get stuff done.
That is
But
so
yeah,
interesting. Yeah. I don't want to say that's so interesting after literally everything you say, so maybe we can have somebody like comment how many times I say that. But but when you grow up, I think it matters that you get the work done. But I think you have to learn what is going to work for you as an individual person. Are you the kind that's, doing yoga and meditation before work, or do you meditation afterward, or do you start the day off with a game, or do you walk around the city, or do you just like, I mean, I wake up at 6:30 a.m. I come right into this office. I don't do any, like, I don't eat breakfast until I've already worked like 3 or 4 hours. Um, or do you need to have a nice full breakfast before? And so you have to kind of experiment with this, I think,
yes.
as you're growing up. Otherwise, if you're forced to do what you like think is right, but like you don't know is right for you, then um, you could probably end up pretty stressed out, I think.
Yeah, it's all about experiments and game. Yeah, life is a game.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome to hear that you think of life like that. That is good. So I noticed a couple of hints, a couple of clues about you on, there's a couple of things on SoundCloud or on Pinterest or on Facebook that I've kind of sleuthed, and I found like drawings of like runes, and like you took some illustration courses and Photoshop and stuff. So I I'm wondering what part of the arts, like what motivates you about runes and poems and illustration and stuff, and how does that like either impact your workflow or give you motivation, or what you get out of that?
I actually get energy from art. Yeah,
Okay.
from music, from theaters, and so on. Um, it's what yeah gives me power. I don't know, new possibilities, new thoughts, new ideas, and again, it's about game. Yes, so uh, I decided that game development is so awesome profession and job that it requires understanding in literature, in poems, yeah, in music, in visual, yeah, arts and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my studies in these fields are connected to my passion.
Mm. That really reminds me of what Sam from Butterscotch Shenanigans said, where game development is like the perfect balance of like what you said, right? The visual arts, of music,
Yes,
of engineering, of like
yes,
goals, and community, right? And so you have to like not like, it's so much harder than people originally think, because what you produce is going to show exactly what you know, right? Because it's going to be at the very limit of what you know and what you understand. And so you're right. So I guess what I was finding was just like you doing the work and doing the research and reaching out. Yeah, that is so
yeah,
cool.
but it's so many interesting things, and not so much time.
Yeah, more
Yeah,
things than time for sure.
yes.
So tell us about a hobby game that, are you working on a game now that we should know
Um,
about?
I wish. I wish that I was working on a game right now. But this year, I was doing small projects just for 1 or 2 days. When I feel that I have some time or
Mm-hmm.
I have some passion. So first of this, it was like uh, I decided to create some piece of art of my memories with my friends when we
Okay.
was like 12, 13 and so on. And these beautiful moments, we forget them. And I
Yeah.
decided to create small text game uh, where you play as me. and
That's awesome.
yeah, and just describing the main stories with choices and this dialogue that we had. Like it was game for my friends, yeah. And yeah, just to have some nostalgia and some memory for the future. And the second project that I had was for my love. Yeah,
Hmm.
like uh, it was minimalistic game. Maybe I will send you some videos if you
Okay.
need. Like where you play again as a me, but it is a box and a heart shape in this box,
Okay.
and you need to cut through some logical puzzles uh, to actually find her, to find your love and so on. It's pretty difficult game, but my love passed it.
Nice. Nice. She's like, well, that is pretty great that she would pass the game to find herself, right? So for you, you're playing the game, you're finding her, she's finding herself. That's kind of poetic in and of itself. That is super cool. And I think that kind of like opens my mind to different possibilities. I think when we think of game development, especially here in America, where it's like you got to produce it, you got to sell it, you got to market it, right?
Yes.
You're here, you're there creating a game for your friends, right? Like your intended audience is your friends, not me, certainly. Not the general marketplace. And I think that's interesting. When you have the creative mindset, like it sounds like you do, Arick, the software is good for whatever purpose it was designed for. Hopefully, not all software it turns out working out, but um, you know, being a coder, being an engineer, it sounds like you can purpose build software. Like, hey, I'm gonna make this for my friends, or I'm gonna make this for my girlfriend or my wife. I'm going to, I'm gonna write a video game about whatever, bunny rabbits, or I'm gonna make a Mario clone, or I am gonna make a video game and sell it on the market, right? So I think that is super interesting, and it's almost infinite what you can create and like who you can create it for. So, wow, do you have any games that you think, do you have any projects that you're interested in the future, like of making?
Yeah, like so many ideas every day. Oh, I should do this stuff. Oh, I should do this.
Really?
Especially, yeah, especially that right now it's like really the most interesting years, like VR, crypto,
Mm-hmm.
merging streaming services into games and so on. Like possibilities are endless, and they are even expanding this and so on.
Mm,
Right now we have machine learning that came into games also, and like wow, there's so much that we can create. Yeah,
wow.
time.
Yeah. Yeah, that is for sure, right? So you got crypto, Bitcoin's kind of blown up, and so is all the altcoins. It seems like, and they're becoming more and more valuable over time. More and more people know what they are. You're talking about VR, virtual reality. Some people
Mm.
are really scared by that. Some people like are absolutely in love with it, and then you got some people in between, like myself. Like I love the possibility of it, but I like to be able to I have three screens here in front of me. I like to still be able to look away if my wife comes in and know that she's there, right? So it is interesting. But I think, especially in times where people are physically separated, right? Where um, it's nice to be able to communicate and interact with other people who are, maybe in the next house over, or maybe across, the whole world, right? I mean, you're 8 hours ahead of me, just for example, right? You're on the other side of the planet almost. So, it's yeah, technology is beautiful in the ways that it enables us to be connected, and it's interesting. Maybe you could tell me about this, but you have created games, it seems like, that are purpose built on like human connection. What do you think about software as a connector of people?
I'm not sure I understood your question. May you rephrase it?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So you have created this game for your friends and
Yes.
for your love, right?
Yeah.
This is a game of connection, of human, um, not direct like face to face communication like we're doing, but obviously of like memories, like you said. So, what do you think the potential is or danger of software and connecting human beings? Like, do you think it can help us be closer to each other, or do you think it can pull us, pull apart from each other emotionally? What are your thoughts? I don't know if that makes any more sense.
Yeah, that's a really hard philosophical and ethical question.
That's why I'm asking it. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, still, it's always our choice and our freedom to how to live here and how to connect with the people that we want.
Hmm.
How to, yeah. The technologies just gives us more possibilities, more ways to express
Mm,
ourselves.
okay. I think I understand what you're saying. So, I mean, are you saying that, we choose if we want to connect with people or not, but the technology just gives us more options? Is that
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
That's okay. This is cool. I know we're getting a little bit deep into philosophy. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I think this is really cool. If you could say anything to, people who are growing up and who are interested in technology but don't know what they want to do in the future and are kind of looking up to you, what would you say to them?
I believe the main reasons that I decided for myself, yeah, I get to myself, it is always follow my inner passion voice here
Okay.
that lead me to play with life and to play, yeah, to enjoy it. Otherwise, why?
Interesting. Okay. Huh. Okay. So your advice isn't so much technical as it is just like you have to like living. Otherwise, like, what's the point, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah, like I was enjoying the idea of making my own new world, yeah, of making new pieces of art, and that was lead me to programming and creating. Yeah, and I pretty enjoy it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the program today. It was really great. I think I learned a lot. I mean, there are, certainly cultural differences, but I think we're all trying to find happiness in life, whether that's, through work or yoga, we're trying to get there. So,
Yes.
well,
All through
thank you.
games,
What's that?
all through games to
Oh,
get happiness.
oh yeah, for sure. Definitely. I think I play enough video games for a few people. But well, that is great. If people want to reach you or ask you a question, how should they reach out to you?
Uh, Through Facebook, Instagram, Telegram, Discord, whatever. I love.
Okay.
I like it.
All right, perfect. We'll post the links in the show notes, whether you're listening to the audio version or the YouTube version. And we'll see you in the future. All right.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.